Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about my week number 14 tight end start or sit decisions for fantasy football in 2021. Inside today's video, we're going to be going in depth into every single matchup from all the games on Sunday's slate all the way until Monday Night Football, and I'll be telling you guys whether I believe you should start or sit the tight ends in every single matchup. But before we could get on into things, I would like to ask, if you are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, to please make sure that you do hit that subscribe button down below, because not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win your 2021 Fantasy Football Championship. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure to hit that like button down below to help boost this video up the algorithm so that more beautiful people like yourself can see today's video. I would also like to ask, if you guys are on Twitter and would like to follow me on there, to please do so at Notorious FNTSY. The link to my Twitter is also down below in the video description. So without further ado, let's get into my week number 14 tight end start or sit decisions. We began with the first game on Sunday's slate, an NFC East matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington football team in Washington. In this game, when it comes to Dalton Schultz, my personal belief is that when Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper are all healthy and on the field, that my confidence in Dalton Schultz is significantly lower, because when one of those guys is missing, you can make the argument that Dalton Schultz will be a little bit more involved, but when you have such good wide receivers out there, obviously that is going to impact the tight end, though this game is one that I believe could be a very high-scoring tit-for-tat, back-and-forth affair between the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington football team, and if that is the case, then you could definitely make an argument to Dalton Schultz finding his way into the end zone. I just believe that with CeeDee Lamb, Cooper, as well as Michael Gallup all healthy, that the odds that Dalton Schultz is the number one or a top 5 tight end in fantasy football this week are significantly lower, but he is still a guy that I definitely want to be starting this week up against the Washington football team defense. For the Washington football team, sadly, Logan Thomas ends up getting hurt, so now we are back with Ricky Seals-Jones as the starting tight end on the team. Ricky Seals-Jones has actually filled in this season for Logan Thomas, because Logan Thomas missed a huge stretch of games from early on into the season until a couple of weeks ago. Ricky Seals-Jones is far from this elite tight end. Obviously, he's not an elite tight end. If he was, he wouldn't be riding the bench behind Logan Thomas, but hey, I think he could get it done here as a potential top-end option for the Washington football team. If this is a high-scoring game, then, you know, it wouldn't really surprise me at all if Ricky Seals-Jones was to find his way into the end zone this week. Next up, we move to the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Les Titans. The Titans use multiple tight ends on their team. They have Anthony Firkser as well as Jeff Swaim, and if I'm being honest with you, it is damn near impossible to dissect which one of those tight ends is going to be the lead tight end on the team in any given matchup. And with that said, in a lot of the matchups, neither of them end up being the lead tight end, right? They're both kind of leaving you out to dry. So at the end of the day, even in this positive matchup up against a soft-ass Jacksonville Jaguars defense, I'm just going to stay away from the Tennessee Titans tight ends. In terms of the Jaguars, James O'Shaughnessy was an interesting start a couple of weeks ago after Dan Arnold ended up getting hurt for them, but at the end of the day, what you're looking for when you're not starting one of those upper echelon tight ends who is getting force-fed the rock every single game, they're getting a lot of targets, you're looking for a touchdown. And the problem with the Jacksonville Jaguars is Trevor Lawrence doesn't throw fucking touchdowns. This guy is allergic to scoring touchdowns. Now, does that mean that Trevor Lawrence is a bust? I'm not going to call him a bust after his first season with this shitty Jacksonville Jaguars team with Urban Meyer as a head coach. But when you're kind of at the bottom of the barrel scavenging for a tight end, I would just look elsewhere from James O'Shaughnessy, because I just don't see a narrative where he scores a touchdown, and now that I've said that, he's going to end up scoring like 5 fucking touchdowns on Sunday. Next up, we move to the Seattle Seahawks at the Houston Texans. For the Texans, Davis Mills is going to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. Since that guy is such a big neck, you could say he's got the neck above on Tyrod Taylor. I tweeted that out. It only got like 2 likes. I thought it was hilarious. It was one of those where you like literally slap your knee. You're laughing so hard. I did that all for it to get like 2 likes, but it is what it is. I still found it funny. So Brevin Jordan is the starting tight end on the team with Davis Mills under center. I don't even think, like, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they didn't score a single fucking point in this game. The Seattle Seahawks defense isn't amazing, but they could stop the Texans. So, Brevin Jordan, he's going to be left on the bench. Gerald Everett, this is kind of one of those where you're pulling to the bottom of the barrel and you pick a guy out and you say, you know what, maybe this will work, because Gerald Everett has seen an increased workload as of recently, because Russell Wilson just doesn't throw the ball to DK Metcalf anymore. Why throw the ball to this behemoth of a man who can catch the ball as long as it goes anywhere near him? Why do that? Let's throw it to Gerald Everett. Make it make sense, Russell Wilson, you fucking idiot. Gerald Everett, though, has been getting a lot of value. Last week, he had a terrible game. He got a bunch of targets. He fumbled the ball. He scored like negative points. But if there's ever a game to bounce back, it would be up against the sorry-ass Texans defense. Next up, we move to the Las Vegas Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs. In this game, I like both tight ends. Now, last week, I gave a little bit of the sucky, the gawk to Foster Moreau. I talked him up a little too much, and at the end of the day, he did not end up paying off. It appears that Darren Waller is going to miss in this game again. Very sad, but that does give Foster Moreau the chance to elevate himself. I understand he had a down game last week, but this game has all the makeup of a shootout, a very high-scoring game between two division rivals. I love this game, the Raiders at the Chiefs. I think Foster Moreau has a much better game than he had last week, and I think a lot of people are going to be scared to start him, but I think I'm just fine playing Foster Moreau. For the Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce is a start. That's a shocker, right? You play this motherfucker every single week. He's super good. He has the upside of scoring 20, maybe even 30 points if he has one of those big games, so you're definitely going to start him here. Again, this is a game that I believe could be high scoring. There is going to be, though, obviously, some weather factors in this game, whereas when this was in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, they play in a dome. Next up, we move to a matchup between the New Orleans Saints at the New York Jumbo Jets. In this game, Ryan Griffin actually has been seeing a little bit more of an increased workload as of recently, but with how kind of deceptive this Saints defense has been, I don't know if I want to start Ryan Griffin, and that's why he's listed as a sit, because this Saints defense has come into some games on fire. They look amazing. They look like one of the best defenses in the NFL, and then the next week, they're basically sleeping like a fucking Snorlax on defense, and they're not able to do anything. But in my opinion, up against the Saints defense, I would rather just keep it safe and sit Ryan Griffin. Nick Vanette has appeared to be, or Nick Van Nett, I believe his last name is. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Going up against the Jets, this is kind of a wet dream matchup, but at the same time, while he is and has elevated himself to the #1 guy with Adam Troutman hurt, can you really trust it? In my opinion, no, especially with Taysom Hill having mallet finger. I just don't want anything to do with these Saints pass catchers. Next up, we move to the Atlanta Falcons at the Carolina Panthers, and I'm going to start Kyle Pitts again, and let me tell you, I am sick and tired of Kyle Pitts. Now, you got to play him every week because in most situations, you can't just pick up a tight end that has the same amount of upside as Kyle Pitts. Calvin Ridley isn't here. So why is Kyle Pitts not getting force-fed the fucking rock by Matt Ryan? I just slapped on my table. I apologize if that made a noise, but I think that gave me further emphasis, like a judge when they smack the goddamn gavel. That's how I felt, smacking my desk, because it pisses me off that Kyle Pitts is not getting the ball more, and it makes no fucking sense. You draft this guy inside the top 5 of the 2021 NFL draft, and you don't give him the football. He is the best receiver on your team. He plays tight end. Give him the fucking football. But they don't do it. They don't do it for some reason. Russell Gage is eaten with like 50,000 targets every single week. What the fuck is happening here? Matt Ryan has looked a little bit better as of recently, so you can make the argument that maybe Kyle Pitts could bounce back, and every single week it's impossible to sit this guy because you know the upside he has. Kyle Pitts just has to be one of the most frustrating players in fantasy football this season. Next up, we move to the Panthers, obviously on the other side of the ball. This is a game that I genuinely have zero read on. I wouldn't be surprised if the Carolina Panthers fucking elbow dropped the Atlanta Falcons, hung 40 on them, and absolutely eviscerated them. And I also wouldn't be surprised at all if the same thing was said about the Falcons just elbow dropping, laying the murder game down on the Panthers. I also wouldn't be surprised if this was a very close game. I really have no read on it because if Cam Newton is on fire, he could take over this game and the Panthers could easily win. But if Cam Newton shrivels up like your cock when you get into some cold water, then the Atlanta Falcons could easily smack him up a little bit. Ian Thomas, Tommy, make that ass tremble. Tight ends of the Carolina Panthers. Just don't want to be starting them with Cam Newton under center. If Greg Olsen decided to get down from the booth and become the tight end of the Panthers, then I'd play him, but I don't really want anything to do with Ian Thomas or Tommy Tremble. Next up, we move to the Baltimore Ravens at the Cleveland Browns. In this game, I like Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews has been making, like, Odell-level catches the last couple of weeks, and it's just crazy. This guy is just amazing. Like, even when Lamar's shitting things up there, funny, shitting things up. You remember last year when he had to go take a deuce during the game? But yeah, even when Lamar's throwing, like, picks left and right, Mark Andrews still eating, still dominating, so I like him in this game up against the Browns. For the Browns, they're one of the only teams that actually use, like, a fucking tight end by committee. They've got Austin Hooper. They've got David Njoku. They have another tight end as well. Just, like, it's just so confusing. Like, and they barely throw. Like, the way the Browns win this game is by just jamming the fucking football down the throat of the Ravens, running a million times with Nicholas Chubb and Kareem Hunt. That's how you win the game. So I think that's what they're going to try to do. So I don't really want anything to do with Austin Hooper. Next up, we move to the New York Giants at the LA Chargers. Who's going to be the starting quarterback of the Giants this week? I have no idea. Could be Jake Fromm State Farm. Could be the other neck guy, Mike Glennon. Maybe Daniel Jones throws his hat in there, right? And ends up, I don't even know the correct analogy there. It's like throw your hat into something. Hat in the ring, maybe. I don't know. But maybe Daniel Jones plays. I doubt it. It'll probably be I'd assume it would be Mike Glennon, but Mike Glennon's also still banged up, so it could be Jake Fromm. Who gives a fuck, though? Doesn't matter. Up against the Chargers defense. Don't want to be playing Evan Ingram. I'll tell you what. Jared Cook is his actual name. I'm willing to start him here if Mike Williams and Keenan Allen do not play. If they both get on the field, then you run away from Jared Cook. Now, this play could even go wrong if both of them miss, because Donald Parham just magically appears like fucking Houdini. That man just comes out of nowhere like an RKO from Randy Orton and just vultures a touchdown. Pretty annoying. Happens all the time. Jared Cook just allergic to scoring touchdowns, but if both of them are out, then I am fine starting Jared Cook. Next up, we move to a matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Denver Broncos. What an electrifying matchup. But before we can break this down in terms of the tight end position, please make sure that if you have ended up enjoying, to make sure to hit that like button, as well as hitting that subscribe button. They're both free, and they both help me out a ton. I would greatly appreciate it. I love you guys. We are on the way to 20,000 subscribers. The season ends in a couple of weeks. I would greatly appreciate if we could hit 20,000 before the end of the season. Please hit that subscribe button if you like my videos. I would really appreciate it. Thank you guys. I love all you guys. Thank you guys for even watching this far into the video. It makes me happy. So, TJ Hawkinson versus Noah Fant. TJ Hawkinson might play. Doesn't seem like he's going to play, though. But their backup tight end, don't want anything to do with him. So if Hawkinson plays, then you play him because this is a alright matchup. And Hawkinson has just been dominating recently. Been playing quite well. If his backup plays, then just fade away from the Lions. And then for the Broncos, you play Noah Fant every week. But this guy hasn't done shit all season. He's basically just like Kyle Pitts. You know that this guy, any given week, if given the football the correct amount, could dominate. But most weeks he just doesn't. That's kind of the story of Noah Fant. Same story about Kyle Pitts. Next up, we move to the San Francisco 49ers at the Cincinnati Bengals. In this game, in a shocker, I like George Kittle. This motherfucker literally dropped a deuce on the defense last week. He scored 40 points, I think. It was over 30. I know that much. On DraftKings, he scored 41. Domination. This week up against the Bengals, I don't think it will be as much domination, but I expect a great game out of Kittle. When it comes to CJ Uzomah, early on in the season, he showed some flashes. I think he could still randomly show a flash here, but I think it would be more of a flash in the pan. He's been very inconsistent. Wouldn't be surprised if he ever just had a humongous game because we've seen it this season, but not a consistent rate to where you want to be starting him. Next up, we move to another matchup here, the Buffalo Bills at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In this game, I like both tight ends. Now, last week, I did like Dawson Knox, but the wind did not. Even though Josh Allen was cutting the wind with these lasers he was throwing, Dawson Knox was not successful. But this week, there shouldn't be 5,000 mile an hour wind like a fucking tornado going through the thing like it's in the Wizard of Oz. So I think Dawson Knox should be just fine in this game. For a bounce back game, Rob Gronkowski, start him every week. This guy literally could be this guy is just immortal or something. Like, he looked like last year at the beginning of the season, like he was going to do nothing, and now this guy is just amazing. He's still the same old Gronk. Yo soy fiesta. Love him this week up against the Buffalo Bills. Next up, we move to the night game, the Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers. We got Cole Kmet. We got Justin Fields starting for the Chicago Bears. So I'm going to play Cole Kmet. Been pretty solid as of recently. Put up solid numbers with Dalton. Put up solid numbers with Justin Fields. So I don't really think the quarterback change will make me warrant any kind of nervousness here or any kind of discomfort. So I'm definitely fine playing Kmet in this matchup. Not a guy that I would rank inside the top 10, but they will be trying to crawl their way on back into this game late up against the Packers. And I think that's going to lead to a lot of throwing. So Kmet would be a guy that I'm looking to play. Josiah DeGuara for the Packers. Ever since Big Bob Tunyon got hurt, there really just isn't much there to be said about the Green Bay Packers tight ends. Final game here, we got the Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. Zach Ertz currently banged up. My assessment is that he will play based upon what I have read. Now, again, I'm just as much of a doctor as Johnny Sins, so what do I really know? But based upon what I've read, Zach Ertz should be getting the nod to play in this game up against the LA Rams. This is going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to be so disappointed if this game sucks and there's not a million points. So Zach Ertz, I love him in this game. Tyler Higbee did have an all-right showing last week up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's been really hit or miss thus far this season, but again, when I project the game to be high-scoring, I think there's a good chance the tight ends score, so I like Tyler Higbee and Zach Ertz in this matchup. So thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. If you did end up enjoying, please make sure to hit that subscribe button as well as hitting that like button. This will be today's only video. Tomorrow on Saturday, I'll try to hop back on the saddle, get 2 videos out for you guys, the running backs and the receivers rankings. Hopefully, today is my final day of finals. So, I have a shit ton of work to do for school, so sadly, I won't be able to post another video today. I apologize, but at the end of the day, it's the last day. I gotta, get these grades up or get a good grade on these classes so that I can graduate. So I love you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for all the support. Again, I love you guys so much. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great guys' day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye, guys.